Okay, welcome to another analysis week on our webinars, and we're looking at the ES with inside weekly, right? All-time high sitting at last week, and this week we get a little bearish harami inside. So when we start to play with this, anything under here starts to open up, some pullback area. Maybe actually a demand zone that we need to put in over here now on the daily. So let's do that. So it's probably the next target down. This one seems to be holding so far. We had a little pullback into the first level of demand. There's another one now back here. We're going to add to our daily chart now. Right here. This is the distal. And this is the proximal line here. So coming in around, 2880-ish or so, which would be the next target down, assuming we break the low for over here of last week's low. We get under here, so, you're looking at, 2880, and then the next push up. We're still bullish. Trend is no question about it, right? But we're just doing a little small corrective move here, and we are able to take out the low from last week. So think for, look for longs in this area. And if we don't, we just start rallying out of here, which is what it looks like it's trying to do right now down here. So then it's just, new highs again. That's what we're looking at. So we want to be long. Just waiting for a decent entry point for that. Let's go look at the 15, see if we got anything going on. Friday didn't look like it was all too much there. There was the short, played out pretty nicely on the 60. I didn't quite get to my 15-minute short level on Friday. So that's going to still be up there. There's the 60 level. There's the hit, and there's the little pullback, and then, late in the day we had a rally, so maybe we get back to somewhere up here. Okay. We have a nice little triple bottom going on over here. You can see that. Actually, this is level on level demand over here, so if you want to be a little more generous with your zone, that's okay. You want to merge them. You want to pull up the proximal line a little bit to here or to here. All that is valid. As long as the distal line is at 81.75, sorry. Okay. Cool. That's our ES looking for pullbacks into demand down on the 15. This was the short level that we had marked off on Friday, and we had a pretty nice push up there, but just didn't quite get up into the zone that I was looking for, and missed by a little bit. Had a decent pullback, and then like we just saw, there was some demand sitting over here, but again, nothing I'm really too excited about with this level. I'd like to see it get up into here first, so we'll leave that. And that's what we're looking for. Yes. Okay, cool. Let's go look at the NASI. So the NASDAQ had a stronger looking week than the ES. Right? We look at the week. So we closed above the prior 2 weeks highs. Not still quite back to the all-time high, but nice bullish candle. Right, up on the daily, we're still looking at a higher, at an uptrend. No question about what we're looking at over there. The peak that we're playing with is this one. That's the all-time high. We had a little bit of a higher low after this little pullback, and then, we just got up here again. So we're right near the all-time highs. You can see that. Waiting to bust through this thing and get up there again. So bullish on the NASI as well. Let's adjust the supply up here a little bit. It looks like on the 240, I've gotten slightly above over there. We still have the all-time highs to play with, which is back here someplace. That's what we're looking at now. So there's the uptrend. Let's see if we find the demand zone somewhere to join this long someplace behind us. All right, there's our supply zone from Friday. And we get up there, nice little sell-off, and then late day rally. So again, the demand that's sitting here, I'm not interested in yet. We haven't taken out prior pivots. There's the demand underneath us, which is really nice. This tight little doji with the little leg in. It looks like we just touched the outside, or maybe just missed it by a little bit. Might have hit the 15 zone, I think, over there. And then, just pushed off, and now we're just banged around inside this area. So again, we're looking for this thing to break through the top. It looks like it's intending to do that over here. So, excuse me 1 second. Okay. And so that was that. And we're looking for some place to join the NASI on the 15th. We said, all right, let's go look at the lower time frame. Where is the long sitting at? All right, so down here we've already hit the demand zone, it looks like, and pretty nice pop. All right, so we're going to hold on to that one. It still looks like it's working. All these little level on level situations over here. Right, there is a little demand sitting here, then here, and then this thing over here. So I sort of, over this one, and then these two of them. Our one was a little big, so I just took the little lower part of the zone over here at that point. So let's see what happens if we start breaking above here. I'm gonna put probably one of these levels over here. I'll move the demand up just a little bit over here. Obviously, there will be a new demand zone forming over here as well if we start breaking through the top. So other than that, we're really just in between where could pretty much have to deal with these levels before there's anything good over here. So no great opportunities yet over here either. Okay, so that's our equities. Let's go look what happened with crude on Friday. It was a nice little pop there. And crude gets back to this resistance / support line on the weekly chart. We end up breaking through this supply zone over here that was on the weekly chart, so we got to remove that. We've created a new demand zone as well. Let's just open up the weekly chart for now for a second. See what's going on over here. All right, so that next supply zone up there is that doji up above us, right? This is the next supply that we have to deal with. It's this thing over here. It was touched once, created this little double bottom, and now we're coming back to the point of origin, it looks like, back to where we are. So there should be resistance in this area someplace. Is it going to get all the way back, up to this area at the top of this thing? It could. I don't know at this point. Question is, what's the trend? And the answer is up at this point, right? We were looking at the pullback higher high, pullback. We're waiting to see if we get another higher high or not. So right now the trend is still up on the weekly chart, and we hit a resistance area, and we'll have to see what happens early in the week. For now, any lower time frames are still going to be up. We're going to buy pullbacks in demand. Start to see this trend turn over, which it's not doing currently. So up it is. Okay, there's our daily. You can see based on what we're looking at here, the next real resistance should be somewhere up here, right? Which is still above this 74. It's close to 75. These highs back here, we're sort of in the air of this candle, right? And that's what we're looking at. We are stretching the bands already, so there's probably going to be a little bit of a fight getting up there. But crude tends to like to do that, like stop everybody out over here. There's stops up here, a ton of stops. Likes to go after those guys, so they're hunting. The gap from last week is still underneath us, right? Gap area from here. All right, on the 240, there's a little demand zone. Now we have some wicks against the wall over here as well. All right, with this new big pop, we'd have to take a look at this level right here on the 240. The leg in puts it right here, and you can see that push down. These wicks hit the wall back here, and then we double tap it with this wick right here, and then explosive move. Okay, so there's the demand for crude. Let's go look at the lower time frames, and we're looking for longs. And there's the demand on the 60. It looks like right around 72. There's the gap underneath it that's still waiting to be hit. This level needs to be adjusted a little bit now. It's wicks against the wall over here with these wicks right there. Okay, and that's the demand that we're looking at here. We don't want to be short. At 74 up there, it's pretty old demand. We haven't been up there in quite some time. Last time was back in July, so it's a couple of months. We probably get a pretty decent pullback from that area. Maybe even a chance to try the long inside the gap. We hit this and then drop into this gap area. Probably something we might want to think about doing on a counter trend move if we start to see this collapsing early on Monday. Let's take a look at our 15 chart, and There's the new demand zone. We'll adjust it. The wicks against the wall. Starts to get a little big over there, so you might want to think about just picking up the wicks, right? I'm talking about now. This is like, that's a lot, 30-something ticks. Actually, it's 25 ticks. Not the end of the world if you take it deep in the zone, so that's actually feasible. Okay, so we'll leave that. There's a new zone as well, which we're not going to put on just yet, only because this doji right here, the red candle, right? So the demand will look like this over here, but I want to see this get up here. If we had stopped right here and the day ended, I would have drawn this zone. But the fact that we've sold off to it already and we started to rally back and didn't peak yet, right, will now pause and make me wait until it actually gets up there before I put this demand on. Because if it's already been hit and then makes a lower high, I don't really want it anymore, right? So right now, this will be a potential zone, maybe tomorrow if we get above here. Keep that in mind. And if we start selling off, well, then we're talking about demand all the way here. This is all air. Okay, so potentially a short for a smaller time frame trade, you know. Okay, so keep your eye on that. That looks like it's something that might be pretty profitable. Gold is just still in its little humdrum, flotsing around, you know, sideways on the weekly chart. Peaks a little bit lower, but immediately the following day prints the twins. You could see that over here on the daily. We filled this little gap area thing over here, and then now looking like we're ready to rally. We still need to make a higher low down here on the 240. Looks like that demand zone got busted, so let's get rid of that. On the 240, we'll adjust, see where the real demand is sitting at, because that one didn't really do much. Let's see. And blow that up. So this was the doji back here, and it didn't really hold. It looks like it was the lower one, this one back here, that is actually doing work. Adjust it up. Take out the wicks over here, only wicks, and that's really what we're looking at. Looks like this area, 1180, whatever it is down there. That's the supply, so again, that's the target on the way back. We still need a higher low over here before we start talking about some kind of bigger long, which is not here yet. Trend is currently down over here on the 240, which on the 6th, on Friday, I'm not sure. No, it's down. So looking at a downtrend of the 60 as well, rallying off the lows, right? One shot off the lows, there's our downtrend, and then we hit this demand down here, and then we just reversal, right, that we pulled out on Friday. That was nice, and it gets right back to just about where it's supposed to, and then it starts flagging over here. Still a bull flag, potential to get us all the way back to here. I would recommend a short up there at 1210. That's probably the level that's going to cause this test back here, because we're not going again. We've been dancing on either side of 1200 for, I don't know, a really long time now. So when we get through next time, again, it's going to have to back test before it can really keep going. So short at 1210, this is a really nice looking supply zone. I love these zones that are, you know, sitting, hiding above all these peaks, because they stop out everybody and then they reverse. I love it. So that's a nice looking short sitting up there. And then depending on what it looks like on the way, we'll have to, you know, figure out that this may be the target, right, around 1200. Okay. So that's cool. For now, the trend is still down. So short, just don't like where we are. If you want to be short, it'll be like a little higher up. So. All right, let's take a look on our 15 chart. Looks like we actually did nail the target on the V reversal for the, I think I tweeted this level, where I was looking to maybe take the short up here, I think, you know, on Friday, but this was the zone I was looking at. Wicks right in there, shoots right out, and then it just starts flagging. And now if it comes back, likely that we get through that. Still have this area over here to consider. Maybe it falls out of there. I notice that is the number, right? And then we start to get up here where the better supply is sitting up there. So I don't like anything as far as, you know, longs right here, because we're going to come into all this mess. The short I like a little higher up. Try a long now. Well, this looks like it's, you know, a potential level for a test. If it drops into here and starts rallying, you might want to think about getting a long over here and aiming for the 1200 number, you know, somewhere around 1190. So there's some small time frame trades available here as well. This is starting to look like a potential cup and handle if it does do this, right? And you're talking about this. See it? So depending on what happens over here, maybe something sets up a little bit later in the week. This being the handle and the cup is over, you could see that, right? And then we break out through the tops. Yeah, so keep your eye on gold. Looks like there's going to be some potential trades for gold coming up. All right, let's take a look at what happened with the dollar this week. Strong move engulfing the weekly candle. More of a bounce than I expected out of this little level over here, but it is what it is. It's coming back to the weekly supply zone. We're almost there, actually. We should put that on the chart. Nice, strong pop. Okay, you can see that over here on the daily chart. We have to adjust this supply because we broke through it and put the gap back. I think when I did this the other day, but I think when my charts crashed, and then I didn't adjust the dollar chart here. Okay, let me just save some stuff now before I get too far ahead of myself. Okay, and we're back to this little gap area. You could see that clearly on the 240 chart, right? The gap was back here, and we filled it to the tick, just right, and then we shoot out, and then we come back to the demand over here, which needs to be turned into demands, which we'll do that right now. Let's get rid of this supply over here. Didn't hold. Delete. Just dojied out and moved up. And now there's a pretty looking, really pretty looking demand zone right here. Wow. That is gorgeous. Oof. Wow. Right at the other side. Fantastic demand. So that would be the target on the pullback. I would tell you, 94, 200 or so over here before we get the next push up. The trend was down on the 240, right? And I think it's still down. I'm not really calling this a pivot. This looks like a base to me. There's no real buying. It's red, green, red, green, red, green. You see that? So there's the low, and then it's a rally, base, rally. There's no real pullback yet. So the pullback still needs to come. And I think we're looking at a pretty good chance that that's what we're going to get out of this area over here, a little pullback, and then it's decision time for the dollar. There's the demand, and then it has to decide, is it doing this, or is it just going to start breaking down? We'll find out. Because the daily is actually in the downtrend, right? Lower highs, lower lows, right? So this level of supply that we're at, this gap, should be the one, if the trend is going to continue, to create the lower high here and then start selling off. So I think the dollar may have maxed out over here. Okay, let's see what happens on Monday. There's the sell-off of the euro corresponding to that dollar move. Okay, and we get an engulfing pair of bearish twins on the weekly chart. And what are we looking at over here? Right, so this is still an uptrend. We were rallying up to here, then we sell off, we base, drop. So that's one move, drop, base, drop. Comes the buying pressure now, and the question now, okay, if this turns into the lower high with this engulfer, then we'll flip trend. But it would need to take out this pivot down here to turn this weekly chart into a downtrend. So dollar bulls need to push this further down. Obviously, the euro bulls need to try to turn this around and get it going this way. There's a lot of room up here, so we'll have to wait and see where that goes. But gap fill on the well, it's not filled actually. We dropped into the gap over here. That was the V bottom that we were looking for on Friday. Played out pretty nicely on the lower time frame, and then fizzled late in the day. So we turned this into a nice little pop, and then we out our little rally over here, and now it's decision time. Do we flip trend or not? Right? We were looking at this as the V bottom on Friday. That was the target, and then it just went to bed. You can see that. All right. We're looking at this little inverted head and shoulders type of item where we could easily pop through here. You can see there isn't really a lot of supply over here. There is this one little level that's right around 1272. This is this thing over here, but on the 15th, don't look that great. Right? It's okay. This is the rally out of the gap. Right, and there we could end up here, totally. So watch and wait is what I would say for euro for now. There's one demand zone that I'd be interested in when we clear this. When we get through that, this is the demand you're looking at. This nice looking doji candle right here, 16600. But we got to get up here first. Okay, we don't want to take it over here because lower highs still, downtrend still. You don't want to take the longs yet. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's go look at the Aussie. So what do we got? Inside candle on the weekly for the Aussie dollar. Okay, and we saw that we had this nice base rally, one move really off the top, and then the selling pressure starts over here. So we're waiting to see if we're going to get a higher low or not. We landed inside the demand zone on the T over here, looks like on Friday, and we start to try to turning around. This trend seems to be, let's take a look. It was up until here, then we sell off, and then we get this lower high. The question is, what do we do with this wick? That was a news event wick, right? And for me, those are chopped off. Let's cut this off. So we rallied really over here, but it's only 2 candles. So this is really only really one move down. All this is one move. There's no lower high here yet. So this is still in an uptrend as far as the 240 is concerned. Let's take a look at the 60. Starting to look like a little V-bottom is forming over here. The demand that we had on the chart was back a little dot lower. I was looking at this. You could see that. Didn't quite get there. And then it starts to do this little reversal right here with the first higher low and then up through the zone. And now we're looking at air. So this is actually a buy signal right here at the close. Looking for all this air pocket back here. So looking pretty good. For the V-bottom to finish its move, right? The top of the move would be somewhere here, but, levels that we've already hit. So I would say you're probably in your 7,300 at least for the next rally up for the Aussie dollar. So that looks pretty strong. Not bad. And on the pounds, weekly gives us, a beginning of what could be a reversal. Like, usually we see a big, ERC, and then you get the inverted, and then you get the opposite color. Usually it would be a lot bigger than that, that big reversal, but that's not what we're looking at just yet over here. So we'll have to see if this does this. Okay, it looks to me like this is actually flipped trend on the daily chart. With the sell-off off the highs, we get 3 pushes up, and then take out of the pivot here. So I think this is actually in a downtrend now on the daily chart. Okay, the weekly chart still is up. This is all one move. We started here. We'd have to break this to actually flip the trend. But on the daily chart right here, that's opening up some of these lower levels underneath us. There's the sell-off from here. We hit this demand, we rally out. So that level actually was pierced on Friday. We have to take that off. No good, right? We just dojied out in there. And that is actually going to create a supply zone for us instead. So let's put that supply on there. It looks like that engulfing inverted hammer is the level that I would be drawn to, which is this one right here. Through the wick there, and that's the level we're looking at. Level on level. There's a lower one over here that'll probably show up on the 60 chart around the 3130 or so. Let's go look at that. Yep. It's right here. We have to put it on. So that will be 60 chart right here. See how that looks. So there's the wick, and it's right here, failed hammer. 3133 to 48. And that makes sense. Look back here was demand, right? You can see that. And that's the supply that we're looking at. Trend over here. This is down on the 60 now for pounds. So lower time frames are telling us short for pounds. That's a nice looking spot for a short up there. It's pretty much up here, slightly above the 60 zone, just above the 60 zone. So that's where I would probably park my order someplace up here, around 55. Canadian, what are we looking at for Canadian? Big, strong candle, actually. This was a nice red candle at one point. And it looks like we back tested our little wedge thing over here and then shot out of that sucker. So you can see that over here. It doesn't even get into the gap. It just gets down into this demand zone and then explosive move. So this is likely to get taken out over here. doesn't touch my demand. I was just shy by a couple of ticks, it looks like, and then move out of here. So there's still a lot of room up here. Next area of resistance is probably a test again of the 200 moving average, or even the top of the Bollinger Band, 78,000 for another 100 ticks or so for Canadian to the upside. Looks like this demand zone is actually valid now that we've pierced the move over here. I would put this demand on. Right over here, maybe a little tighter, right under the doji. Yeah, we took out this supply right over here. This big move, we even got through these twins up here, so yeah, it's a pretty strong move for Canadian. This is piggybacking off the crude move, so you could see the wicked reversal out of this sucker. There's new demand sitting over here with this failed inverted hammer, you see it? And you know, the distal line, the proximal is really here, got a little big, so I started playing with just, you know, throwing it down here. I didn't want the distal line over here, but this is where I'm going to throw my proximal line. And why I did that, again, this area back here, you know, this stuff, so it'd be a little bit too big otherwise. If you wanted to look at this level also, it makes some sense. Just, you know, this is where the massive explosive move really started from. After the pullback over here on this little selling pressure and the prior high, you push back and wick out, and then boom, you know, so something like that. You could look at as well. So longs for Canadian. And the yen, what are we looking at here? So still selling pressure. We get the continuation of the breakdown. You could see on the weekly chart that we are at the final stages of this demand zone, just at the bottom of these wicks down here from the beginning of 2018. So, you know, almost 10 months. And look at the monthly candle that's just closed. Okay, pretty ugly, pointing to considerably lower numbers. So for now, we're still looking to be short yen at this point. We've hit some demand, unable to really do anything other than just pause. So, you know, the next pop up is a good short. You know, looking at yen is pretty weak up here. Okay, so let's go find the zone. Pretty nice looking doji over here, but there's a new level as well that we're going to put on right now. It's right here. There's the leg in, and there's the wicks against the wall. All these wicks sitting over here. This has already made new lows down here, so this is valid now. We've already broke the bottom on the 15. That's one zone. Then there's this sucker over here. I think that's a similar zone to the one I just put on that 60. This pretty baby. And then, you know, tomorrow, depending on what happens, we may look at this level also. Maybe tomorrow, we'll see what the market opens up, how it opens up. There's a nice looking supply. It's not a major zone, only because we haven't really traveled too far away from it just yet. So it's there. It's valid. We've broken the bottom, but I like this one a lot better. You know me. I like the ones that are hiding above all the basic best zones. That's the one. Okay. Okay. Cruising right along today. Someone's got a question. Loic, what's up, man? Yeah, Loic. Hello. I don't hear you, Loic. I don't know. I'm not hearing you, brother. Is it me or you? Loic? Somebody answer me. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, so I called on you, brother. What's the matter? You're not getting... So you all can hear. So Loic, what's the matter? Your mic's not working, man? Hello? I'm not hearing you, Loic. Something up with your mic, or it's my mic, but if you can hear me, I can't hear you. You can type the question if you want. I'll try. I'm not getting you. Okay. So if you want to type it in there, and then I'll see what I can do in the meantime. I'll continue for now. Yeah, I cannot hear. Yes, correct. I cannot hear you. Okay. Now let's continue in the meantime. Not guess. Please type your question in there, okay? What else? So, look where we happened on this week. We get above a pivot. We're looking at an uptrend now in that gas on the weekly chart. Right? The high gets above the pivot. We had a higher low over here, so this is sell off into the lows, rally, higher low, and then a higher high. A little double actually over here, and then a pierce back to this. So we've gotten back to the origin, but this is looking like it still wants to go. You can see up here we're flagging on top of this daily demand level, this rally base rally, and we've had a pretty good pop out of it. And then Friday, there you go. Now I'm here. What was that? I just heard something. Is that you? BP daily. I'm here. Somebody talk. Somebody's mic is on because I can hear somebody.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, who's that? There you go.
Hey, it's Louis.
Now I got you. Now I got you. There you go. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. It must have been on my end. I just clicked on the red telephone, again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just wanted to find out.
So,
do you want to finish that and then go to my question?
All right. So hold on. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Let's do that gas, and then I'll come back to BP and let's finish this off. So that gas over here. Looking at the daily for a second, we're seeing that this is the demand zone, right? Took out this peak back here. And then we back tested it with this first red candle, and then explosion. We take out this, right? And then Friday we just had an inside day. So we can clearly see this thing is in an uptrend, really strong actually. So for now, look at we're still looking at potentially now getting all the way back up here 3.5. So that gas actually looks pretty strong. I mean, so for lower time frame trades, we still want to be long. We don't see any signs just yet of the trend reversal. However, put that little thought for a second, that this was a very ugly sell-off, right? Very fast. And you could see over here we back tested and then base. We had plenty of time to work through this demand, which means there was a lot of selling pressure over here, right? It took a lot of time to break through. There were buyers here. And all these sellers finally bang, and they do the retest of the breakout. So if we turn over here again and start selling off, we're probably going to get a bigger pullback. So the bulls are really fighting. They're fighting this level right here. Okay, this candle that was at the bottom of this move, we pushed in, and they're trying to defend this area now. Okay, that's the spot. Okay, if we can break back up over here, we're going to get through the pivot. Okay, if we can't, then I think we're going to explore a little bit lower. We came really hard, really fast up here in that gas over the last week or so. It's due for a pullback. There's some really nice demand zones sitting underneath us that can propel it further. And if we don't really turn this around right now and make another higher low, it's likely that not even this, but rather somewhere down here is where we end up with the back test. Just a drop, base, drop, base, drop, and then over here we'll start the rally. So watch the longs. I wouldn't be taking this level here. I'd rather see something like this and then buy this level over here for the move. Okay, so. All right, Malik, let's go back and take a look at your, let me pull up the 15 chart first, and then we'll take a look at, there's one more supply zone here, actually. Right here. There's a little back test for smaller time frame stuff over here. So if you're going to take the long, I'd worry about this sucker. Once we get through that, this is not going to hold. It's not going to do anything. That's the next level. So, cool. All right, let's go back and answer your BP question. You said on what time frame, Malik?
BP daily.
Daily, okay.
I see two candle and a doji. For me, the trend is still up, but you said that it was down.
Yeah, this is down. Yeah, so this itself, by itself, here is a reversal pattern. You see this? There's green, and then this was a pivot up to here, and then it ended up turning into a doji, and then we turned over and broke down. But if you look at these three candles together, this is the Morning Star reversal. This is a reversal pattern. Green ERC, Doji, red ERC. So this is a pivot right here, and then we broke down underneath this. So that's why I said we're in a downtrend over here. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, and then boom. This you've seen this pattern before, right? So absolutely, yeah. Okay, so that's why I said that's a downtrend. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Good, you got it. Okay, and that is nat gas we just finished, and let's go look at copper, because copper had an interesting move this week also. Remember what happened here on the weekly chart, right? And we got this big pop after all these weeks of dribbling. We went right back to the supply zone, and then we didn't really break down. We just paused over here inside, a little sideways action. If you look at it from the daily chart, it's just a little bull flag. So this is still looking strong, right? Yeah, I'll take your question in a second, George. But if you see here, we got up to a level where there was fresh supply above all these pivots, right, all over here, and then we just bull flag back to the demand zone test, right? This is starting to get ready to break out again. That's what it looks like, at least to me. I would say we're looking at something like this coming. So it's still looking strong. A pop through this supply zone opens up air over here, up to 3. This is 3. So I think that's probably where I'd be looking for an exit on the long side. So this is now in an uptrend, right? Back over here, we're looking at some chance to join what I think is the next leg up for copper. On the 60, are we in an uptrend yet? No, we're not. Okay, we turned down over here, lower high, and then we made this lower low. So this was down, and then we get the bottom hold over here, a little double bottom. So we'll pop back to here. Should be at least this coming. Okay, we're still looking for a chance to get long someplace. When we get this pop, this will be the demand zone that we want to buy. See that it's what's on the other side of it: supply, demand. It's right all this area. 2.8. Looks like 2.8 is the spot. That's what we're looking for. All right, let's go take George's question. Actually, let's look at the 15 chart first. There's our 15 copper. And yeah, well, there's actually a demand zone that we can add over here a little higher up. Right here on this thing. Right there. So that zone took out this pivot back here and then made new highs again. So that's looking pretty good. Okay. Let's go take George's question. Let's see, where is George? Yep. Go ahead, George.
Okay. Hey, Joe, can you go back to that chart that Malik had the question on?
Malik, yeah, sure. Pound BP, yeah.
I think it was BP.
Yeah. Good. This one. Actually, let me just take off this demand zone that was pierced, but yeah. Right here, and right here. And I'll do this, so we'll see it a little better. Okay. So this is the chart that he was questioning.
Okay. My question, I see your side and I see Malik's side because
Malik, yeah.
in the past you said that that you have to wait for 3 candles for a change of trend. And are you saying that third candle is
this is the third candle I'm looking at, this one.
Right, but I would consider that a pivot if it was a green candle, but it's it's kind of a doji thing.
Yeah, but this this alone is a reversal pattern.
I would agree.
Right, this is a daily chart. You agree with me, right? So that means that we were going up until this point, and then we turned over to go down, and then we broke where we started rallying from. So this right here has to be a pivot. For me, this is push down off the highs. We rally up to this point, and then we break down under here. Once we break down under here, now the trend is down. So this is a pivot. Okay, you understand what you're saying? I'm going to make it even more hard for you to swallow. Even if this candle was red and it looked like this, I would still call it a pivot.
Okay, I would
Okay,
agree
because
with that.
that is the
Would you
right.
do that
Even
on all
it's not because it's green. Yes, yes. Okay, it's not because it's green. It's because of what's on the other side of each of that candle. Right. So even if it was a red candle that looked exactly like this, but it was red, I would still call it a pivot. Okay, because of what's around it. It's a morning star reversal. Let's just talk it through. What does that mean? It means that there were buyers that pushed the price all the way to here. And then when the sellers took over up here, they were so strong, they overrode all the buying pressure and went even lower. So this has to be a pivot, right? Because we were able to overcome all this buying pressure. We rallied from whatever this number was down here, 132, all the way up to here. And at that point, the sellers jumped on and just bull rushed, well, bear rushed everybody, right? And they just destroyed all the buying pressure, which means this right here is a pivot. By definition, a pivot is a change in direction of the market. Can't say this is not a change. Why do I know? Because we broke the bottom. If we didn't break the bottom, George, and we just pulled back into here, okay, and we stopped over here and started rallying, I wouldn't call this a pivot. You're right. It's not 3.
Okay, I would agree. I would agree with that. What if instead of 3 candles there, 3 green candles, all that action happened on the second candle, and then again reversed down, broke the bottom? Would you call that a change?
Yeah, no, I would not. I would call it a drop-based drop. Good point. Okay, if this candle here, because it's not giving me this pattern, right? What you're saying. If I took this candle off the chart right here, forget about it. It doesn't exist. And I have 1, 2, and then this one, I would say drop-based drop. Okay, this candle here doesn't exist. Erase it. I have this candle, then this candle, and right away I get this candle. This candle somewhere a little bit lower down, obviously, right? But that's the pattern. That's what it looks like. It's a drop-based drop. It's not a pivot.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Clear? Clear. Good. Next. Yes, Louis. Bye.
Hi, Joe. A Tron question again. Can you go to 240 copper?
BP? Copper
No,
240.
copper.
Hold on.
I'm
going
down because I see a reversal.
Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a look. So let's take a look here. Okay.
I mean, following the same discussion, 3 green candles. So here we're up,
so
up.
The trend turned up right here.
Yep, agreed.
Good. So we're up right here.
Yeah.
So this is all up. We push down.
Then you have
This
3
is
candles
2.
here.
I have 2. Oh, okay. Hold on.
You have 3 candles.
Oh, this.
And then
That's correct.
Engulfing red.
This is a lower high. You're right. Lower high, lower high, lower low. Right here. It turned down. You're right. It turned down right here. Yep. Right here. Down.
And can I ask you another question that's completely not related to that?
Sure.
Just sorry for everyone for asking that, but I didn't get an email from you today, so I thought that the recording you were going to sing recording earlier.
I did send I sent an email out to everybody. You didn't get it?
So some of us didn't get it because I actually went to the Skype grad group. And I asked if anybody had received an email, and Jason King apparently did not receive it. So, just like me, he thought that the recording was going to be sent. So to get in, I actually just
that's really
out of luck. I've used the Wednesday link.
Yeah, I just ended up. You're lucky. I ended up using the same link. I usually change it, but I didn't. But that's strange because I did. Anyone else in this session get an email? Because I myself, I'm on the list and I got the email. So I know that it went out because I got it. So things up. You know what I mean? I wonder. Check your junk mail. Did you look at your junk mail?
Yeah. Well, it's just something with cyberspace because I didn't get it, but Jason.
Right.
King,
Okay. All right.
Get it as well.
I'll check from my end because I know that because I put myself on the list just for that problem to make sure that when I send it, everyone gets it because I got it, so I know it went out.
Well,
but
as you said, thank God you use the same link because I really used it. I completely.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Jason,
okay. So you know what, Leek? I'm going to send it. I'm going to send the recording afterwards.
Okay,
I'm going to send the recording again, and if you don't get the recording within, like, say, 5 minutes after the session's over, you didn't get the link for the recording, please email me and let me know because that means there's something wrong that I have to start looking into. Okay.
Got it. Okay. So I'll tell Jason that he can expect the recording.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye. That's really strange. Okay, so we're looking at copper, and so we talked about potentially taking the longs up there. Okay, cool. This is the one that really is just eating my heart out so far. We're waiting for this massive long to start. We got into it, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, I forgot, and get T1 off really nice, and then it decides to pull back on Friday, back into this little area over here. This is all basing. So the trend is still down. The daily chart's rally base. I'm waiting to see if we make the rally out of this thing, right? Down on the weekly chart, we get the doji. It's an inside candle, so we don't really go anywhere just yet. And on the 240, we're just pulling back to this area that we start to break out of. So, this to me looks like the type of thing they do at the end of the day when they're going to go the other way. It's like Friday afternoon, let's just screw anybody that's trying to stay long for the weekend. We'll stop them all out, and then Monday we'll just explode, and everybody will be out of the trade. So, hell with them. I think that's what we're looking at over here. So, that we, on the 60 chart, we were able to get the trend going, right, to the upside. With these moves up here, there's some resistance over here on with the trend line that we had in the lower time frame. This doji candle, right, hiding inside here, that's the demand. You can see it so far. It's working. And this is one sell-off off the highs. We're still in an uptrend over here. We're at the demand, and then the question just becomes, they're going to hold this thing, or they're going to try to stop out the people that have their stops here. If they go down into this demand zone, I'm going to adjust the demand zone, as a matter of fact, in a second. It looks like I moved it a little bit, but it should be down here. That's the spot. If they drop into this area, I'm taking it again down here. Just straight down. Otherwise, we'll wait till Monday morning and see what the new candles are looking like. We're going to try to buy the pullback still. We want to be long over here on soy based on what we're watching. I think we're seeing the beginning of a pretty nice higher time frame bottom starting to build down here, and at least a rally back to this weekly supply, which is still 50 points for soy, and then wait and see if we can get through that. But for now, the target would be 900. We're at 845 or so. So a pretty nice looking trade. Okay, so still looking for the longs on soy, waiting for that to develop for us. Okay, and then this week we had the FOMC meeting. So we would expect that there should be some pressure on the bonds with the increase of the rates. So we did get a test of the lows, a peak of prior lows. This is starting to look like maybe a double bottom down here. If we're able to rally out of this, we're going to get that evening star candle reversal, right? If we get a big green candle over here, which is what looks like we may be getting, starting to, at least based on what we're looking at over here, with the pullback, back to this area, maybe back to this area, a nice green candle, then we have some room to rally a little bit. So for now, the trend is still down. We're not really looking to get long just yet, but it's in the back of my mind that we might be starting to see some kind of swing setup starting over here. So let's take a look down at the 60 for a sec. Little double top. The demand is lower down still. If it's light over here, this is the demand zone that we're looking at. So expect to push back into this thing with the double top. You could take the shorts. This is actually an uptrend on the 60, but the double top allows us to look for the shorts over here down into the origin, which is going to be somewhere down here. Okay. Blow that up for a sec. See what that looks like. All right, we flip trend to it. Well, this is the first pivot really, and then we never really broke the high. We just put in an equal high. So, if you argue with me and say, well, the trend is not really up, I would have to agree with you. We never really took it out. We actually just sold off the double bottom top. So that really means, that the origin is actually even all the way down here. This is moving to here. There's the middle. There's the double top. That would mean, back down to the lows, which is pretty much around where we are. So any short on a smaller time frame into this 139 and changes of a feasible trade. And that should be it for this morning's session. Anybody have a question? I'm surprised. I was wondering why there are only like 12 people here. I guess a bunch of people didn't get the email. It's interesting. Yeah, George, you got an email. Okay, that's weird. All right. I'm going to double check and see what's going on with my email list. Something up there maybe. But I'm going to send it out again right now, the recording. If you don't get the recording within, let's say, 5 minutes, please send me an email, so let me know, and I'll try and figure out what's going on. Otherwise, thank you very much. I'll speak to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.